Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief. Today, we are going to talk about the Coinbase IPO. It's technically a direct listing, but you're going to hear everybody say IPO, so we might as well say IPO here. You can view those in my usage this morning as interchangeable, but it is set for April 14th. So a week from now is when it will list. And if you kind of remember back to the direct listings of Roblox and Palantir before that, these tend to open somewhere around noon, noon Central, 1 o'clock Eastern. The price, people always say, well, what's the price? It's like, well, I don't know. We did our entire show last time on Roblox based on a $45 price, which is what they were talking about that morning. By the time they actually listed it, American Greed in Play, right? It was at 64.50. So I had to make all my adjustments and math based off of a new number on the fly. Which affected, some of you that were playing along in the home game, maybe set limit orders. Well, obviously those weren't going to hit because it was well above that, right? But we're going to pull those charts of Roblox and Palantir. Excuse me. Look at how they moved after that, and you'll see that you don't necessarily need to be in right away. Now, could Coinbase be different? It could, but we shall see. We really don't know what we have on our hands. I tend to think that everything I've heard out of Coinbase leadership is that they're going to maximize this IPO. In other words, they're going to jack the price up as high as they possibly can. That I don't like. That makes that a negative. So we shall see how it all plays out. Where I knew I was moving into Palantir pretty big, I knew I was moving into Roblox somewhat, depending on the price. Coinbase, I don't know. I can't tell you, but it's something obviously. It's going to be number one atop the chart of things I'm looking at, and who and how much and all that for different accounts. But I don't know. We may take a pass on it, or we may just wait and see what happens. We'll talk about the investment thesis here during the show. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Also, earning week starts next week, so we have a lot better opportunities as far as trading. Again, earnings season, goes on for 6 weeks. And again, the trading opportunities are a little bit higher during that time because you have news releases to go off of, which are moving stocks. So thanks for checking us out this morning. If you want to check us out on replay, make sure you click the subscribe and notifications bell. If you want to join the room, what you don't see here is a Q&A window, as well as a chat window where I have my trades for the day put in over there. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone. Here's our lineup card for the day. Make sure you have your Q&A window set up, as well as your chat window set up with all attendees, so everybody can hear when you say something out there. Standard disclaimer applies. This is financial education presentation, so you have to do your own due diligence before you act upon anything you hear this morning. Full disclaimer information is available at OTOTnow.com. All right, welcome to the morning brief, April 7th, Wednesday. Mission objectives: grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. This is definitely a high-risk play of looking directly at growing our money through the Coinbase IPO. Again, direct listing technically, but set, as you heard in the open, set for a week from today. So that's what we're going to talk about. We will take a look at both Roblox and Palantir, how they acted as the direct, during their direct listing, and then we'll make our plan. This is going to be one of these where if you're on my investing books, you're going to I'm going to reach out to everybody and go, all right, based on what I know, here's my recommendation for you, position size and everything, and the price we'll pay, and then we'll go from there. 2 for 2 on these direct listings and I would imagine this will be the way it is. from now on. They're dropping 115 million shares. There's a little difference, right? 115 million shares next Wednesday. So basically, whatever price they set for the IPO, which again won't be set until 30 minutes prior, 60 minutes prior, you're going to get that price. I'm convinced of that. You don't have to be fancy anymore. I'm not really ready to market order in. I'll still set a limit order in just in case. But looking at watching these last two, I don't think there's any issues there. And both of them also, if you had waited, you would have seen a better entry price. So that's another consideration on this one. I think it has a lot more downside potential. So again, from a risk reward analysis, you have your risk, reward to the upside, what you're looking for, and then the risk to the downside. I generally look for a 3-to-1 ratio. In other words, I want to be able to have, if the downside is $1, then I want the upside to be at least $3 to make it worth taking as an investment. So here, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a tremendous downside, but I do think there's going to be downside to whatever price they set. So say it's $100, it probably has maybe an $85 downside. So in that case, I would have to think, is this thing going to pop to 145 in order to take the investment? So a lot of unknowns. The ticker, though, is cool. It's Coin, COIN. It's like, how is that ticker symbol still available? And I think it's going to be wildly popular in the cryptocurrency crowd. Here's the issue. Here, I was just going to say that. Here's the issue, and Predator chimes in the chat, is where's this money coming from? It's largely coming from the crypto universe. So there's people that believe that own these cryptos outright through Coinbase. There's people who own them kind of a secondary way, like we do through Greystone Trust or other means. There's others out there now that these kind of are popping up. And the money generally is going to come from that universe. So if you're selling, you wouldn't necessarily sell your Bitcoin, but you might sell some of your other stuff to move in. So we could see a hit across the board as money shifts into actually owning this would be like if you relate it to the stock world, it would be stocks versus owning Schwab, right? Well, Schwab makes money. There are, even though it's no transaction fee for major stocks, they still make transaction fees off of over the counter. They still make millions and millions, maybe billions, I don't know, off of your money that you have sitting in cash in your accounts. So there's lots of ways for them to make money. So you're owning the marketplace versus the actual assets. Same thing here. You're not owning crypto outright. You are owning the marketplace, if you will. So it's an interesting take on it. I don't know. It'll be fun to watch for sure, but we shall see. Also, question of the day is, what is market capitalization? Some people like that. I don't necessarily like it, and I will tell you why when we dig into that during the question of the day. All right, our flow for the day will be long, short, open, short, long. That means we're going to do a market review and headline review. Futures are in the red slightly after a couple of pretty good days, so not too worried about that. The long-term investments we'll take a look at, as I said before, Roblox and Palantir. We'll pull those charts, kind of take a look at how they acted after the direct listing to see if we can use that for any predictive, strategy for how we play the Coinbase IPO. This may be the first one where I wait and go, I'm pretty sure it's going to sell off, so I will wait till it does. And then, of course, if you use that strategy, you have to be completely okay with it opens at $100 and you go, okay, I'm going to wait for 90, and then it goes to 200, and you can't have any remorse there. So if the ship sails without you, you have to go, okay, and move on. Say it is what it is. Okay, short-term execution trades are in the room. Have 6 long names there. The one I really like is HIMX, and then only one short. Geo cut its dividend, and it's dropping significantly, but I still think we'll be able to get in. So I'll be looking at Geo short, plus the market's in the red. So the other stories out there are not as compelling on the short side. All right, contingencies and academic resources are standard. Let's go to TD Ameritrade, and I'll show you that Geo real quick since it's my top trade. All the way to the right, closed yesterday at 7.8%. They made the announcement that they're going to close it, cut their dividend early this morning. So again, not much trading until this dashed line, which is where it opened this morning, is when they made the announcement overnight. And you can see the stock basically has reset from down, in the mid 7s down to 655. So really looking at trying to get in here, and again, taking it short with about a 10-cent stop if you're setting up for that. All right, so zoom back out though, look at where we are. Boom, we're way up here in new highs for all my friends. Or slightly off of yesterday, not too worried about that. Again, here's the SPY, jumped up and now it's just basically sideways trading. Again, not worried about that. It's a lot of consolidation when you hit new highs. All right, let's go over to CNBC. We'll take a look at around the world real quick. Closing out of some other windows here. So there you have the futures. So you can see across the red across the board. Rid of this. All right. Now I'm back. Okay, let's take a look at Asia first instead of Europe. So Asia, Hong Kong's in the red. The other two are pretty close to even. Europe, again, split, but no major moves. There's our numbers from yesterday. Red across the board. You saw the candlestick was green, even though it was red. So remember, that's a gap up and then a sell-off during the day. We'll give you that. The 10 years down at below 1.7. So again, that story has kind of played out. For now, it'll be back, I'm sure. Oil below 60, that's good. Gold and silver, if you're looking to diversify from a market that's at all-time highs, that's one way to do it. And then, of course, Bitcoin down to 56.5. Not too worried about that. Okay, let's go over to the main headlines. Jamie Dimon put out a letter this morning. That's what CNBC is kind of talking about, referring to spending, inflation concerns, and health of the banks in the U.S. So I have not read that, but economic boom could easily run into 2023. So I do have some folks out there that are having me sell some stuff here. Okay, that's fine. I work for you. That's not what I would do, because I do think the economy kind of explodes into this. We do have the headwind of taxes, but we also have a lot of people with a lot of money that needs to, rats in a cage scenario, right? So I think we're going to get out and spend a lot of money from there. All right, let's take a look at some other stuff. Mortgage refinance demand drops, of course. With rates going up, if you haven't refied, then the window's closing on you. So I probably wouldn't bother now, to be honest. Let's see. Nike suspends endorsement of Deshaun Watson. That's probably overdue. When the accusations run past 10, I think it's hard to believe that there's not something there. Here's your Coinbase. I didn't mention this earlier. Q1 revenue jumped 9-fold to 1.8 billion. I mean, that's an amazing headline. So with that headline, though, they're able to command a higher price, which makes me concerned that we aren't going to get as good a deal on the direct listing as I had hoped. Interesting. I saw this yesterday. Bezos supports the corporate tax rate hike. I mean, I think that's the right thing. 28 is a better number than 21, 28%. 21 just wasn't quite enough, and I'm a small business owner paying that tax. So if I can say that and he can say that, pretty much that almost puts the entire universe of business between the two of us, right? Not between the two of us, but between those ends of the spectrum that the two of us define is a better way of saying that. All right, let's take a look real quick. So Roblox, obviously, I can't zoom in on this, but 64.50. We were talking about 45 that morning. They bumped it up to 64.50. Even during that day, there was a print all the way down to 60. Now that's probably like one person got that price, but as they unload these shares onto the market, pretty much it jumped for what? These are trading days, so 5 of them define a week. There's 1 week, 2 week. Into that third week, you saw it go back below the IPO price. There's market forces out there, headlines, blah, 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 and now it's going to jump back up. So basically, anybody who has the shares at 64.50 are up at 71. What's that? 12%, if you will, up from where we were. Palantir is a lot stronger story, in my opinion. I was kind of shocked that the IPO. I was more than kind of shocked. I was really shocked that the IPO actually dropped below the $10 level for, kind of bounced around at 10s/ below for a long time. I remember plussing up at 11, over 11. It's just like I'm one of the guys who was the dumbest guy in the room right here because I'm a buyer, and then I looked dumb for a good month and a half before I didn't look dumb anymore. As you can see, this stock's kind of been all over the map, raged higher above 40, reset down in the 20s. I say it's a buy below 25 if you're interested. But the bottom line here, if you got in on the direct listing, you're up and you're up big and you're happy. So let's look at Schwab real quick. I can show you these zoomed in a little bit before we switch over to TD Ameritrade. So here's your exact trading days for Roblox. So the IPO price right here, basically, and then there's the dip down. And it didn't stay there long, right? This actually, that same day that it dipped down below 64.50, it closed up at 68. So volatile day, and it closed right back up. Then you have Palantir in a chart that looks a lot similar to the other one, to the Finviz chart, except the difference is you see the earnings announcements on here. So earnings, this one drove higher, earnings that can hold lower after that. A lot of people want to say, hey, let's hold out till the first earnings in Roblox. You can, and we are. So we shall see how it acts after that. Same thing, you could wait on Coin until their next earnings. All right. 1 minute to the market open. Let's go over to TD Ameritrade and set up. I have a setup here for the trades of the day. You have the SPY, then you have HIMX long, XL long, and Geo short. Let's zoom back out on that. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time On Target play of the day. You have 4 screens in front of you. They're all 1 minute charts. You have the S&P 500, which is in the red, but it's obviously trending positive there. You have HIMX, which is up 7% on earnings, is what's causing that gap up. You have XL Fleet, who's announced that they're going to do a significant amount of electric vehicles within their fleet. So they are gapping up 8% on that news. And then you have my favorite, which is Geo Short. There's the opening bell. Geo Short is gapping down on, they cut their dividends. So we're going to look at Geo Short here. It's going to be about a 10-cent stop. So we're going to let it set the high of the day. Hopefully it doesn't just fall like a rock. What we would prefer is it stays around between 6.6 and 6.7, maybe even goes a little higher, and then turns around and starts to sell off from there. So we'll zoom in on this pretty good. So checking the HIMAX story, they're basically dropped out of their gap. They're not gapping up anymore, so we can kill that. This is acting like we want it to. Again, Geo, we prefer it go up, set the high of the day, and then we'll take it short. Another long we'll take a look at is CAHC was added to the mid-cap 400. I don't like how that chart looks. All right, let's back to here. 667 is the high of the day, so that puts the entry point at 657. Let's use 660. I feel like being aggressive on this. 660 with the 670 stop. There's your entry into it again. 660 short. Here's your arrow down. 670 is your limit to the upside in case this thing backs up. And again, the only reason it's not like people are buying this, they're covering their shorts, is why we're setting the level up here. So again, 660 is your entry point. That puts our exit at 630, which I think is very, very achievable. And your upper limit here is at 670. We'll bring that down to 660 if we can. Again, I don't think a lot of people are going to be buying this. So our first R point is 650. Let's zoom out here a little bit, see if we can reach any lower. That didn't zoom out much. There, zoomed out. Doesn't look like we'll get much lower on the chart. So again, your exit point is all the way down at 630 is what we're looking at here as this thing falls. Okay, let's see, XL's moving higher. No real entry point there. Would have been down here at 884, 10 cents, 890. Well, that would have been a tough entry. All right, our trade's back to even. So if you want to take it here, you can. Wait for it to start to drop back down. You don't want to take it if it just busts through the top there. So anyhow, we'll monitor that trade. Coming over here to CAHC. Again, they were added to the, I don't see it. They were added to the, I think it was the mid-cap 400. Also, NVST. They're up 7%. They were added to the small cap 600 there. Actually, I got that backwards. They were mid cap 400, the other CAHC, which is California Healthcare, which was added to the small cap 600. Cruise lines are on fire. CDC got their announcement this morning that we'll pull up that midsummer they'll be able to travel on cruise lines. So as we got, keep an eye on your trade. If it hits 670, we're out. It's getting pretty close. So either have it set up automatically, which is preferred, or if you're going to stare at it, which I can't do in the morning, so I just have to set it automatically to 670. So remember, if it touches 670, you're out. Back to the cruise lines. Again, CDC said we can all cruise by midsummer, maybe with a passport, maybe not. We'll see how that drama plays out. CCL obviously on the move up. That's Carnival Cruise Lines as well. So that's kind of it for the long side. You do see that the S&P is in the green, NASDAQ still in the red, Dow's in the green, but overall pretty muted on the day. All right, the other shorts we were looking at this morning, Tencent Holdings. There's no headline out there other than all the negative China stuff. So they're selling off significantly. Is it a buy here? Not necessarily. Again, I prefer Alibaba and KWeb if you're going to go China. And then the last one was RMO. If you remember that from yesterday, they were gapping up yesterday because of their deal with PACCAR, and they're basically gapping down today and selling off of that same news. So again, you'd have to back this chart out to see the story. So you have the move up from 850, touching 13.6, closing at 12.5. And now it's just basically filling the gap. We're a gap and go strategy, so we don't do stuff like this. But this is definitely a gap filler as it kind of sets back to normal. All right, still in our trade. It's hanging out in the area there. Again, with the dividend cut, I do think this thing, if you would project this out for the day, this is going to do a slow leak throughout the day. There just aren't that many people that are buying a company that just cut their dividend. All right, let's look at the quote monitor. The charts. See what the movers are today, all the way off to the left-hand screen here. The NMDDF and Empower, those are both psychedelics. Bank of America up slightly, JP Morgan up slightly. Off of Jamie Dimon's letter, financials, XLF, where is it at there? Can't grab it. There he goes. XLF is up. MasterCard is up. So again, a lot of financial names. It's looking the red today. China. So China and Bitcoin. So you have KWeb, Chinese technology, Bitcoin down, MongoDB, that's a tech name. Roblox is down 3%. Let's just look at that chart super quick. RBLX. Must be a negative announcement somewhere around here this morning. I have not seen it, but I'll look into that. GBTC, don't know why that's down necessarily. It's basically right after the market closed yesterday. Maybe that's when Coinbase set their date. So it might have driven that down just because people are freeing up cash to go into the Coinbase IPO. All right, that is about it. Nothing really moving significantly, so not too worried about what's going on in the overall market. I think it's kind of a wait and see till earnings. We had the new highs. Now it's kind of the take a breather, consolidate, and wait for earnings coming out next week. All right, let's go back and have the market cap. Let's check our trade real quick. Again, set your stops in 670 and 630. If you don't like the way this is acting, you can kill it here or kill it at 660, either one. I'm going to let it go and check back on it later. All right, let's go to market cap. So market cap in itself is talked a lot about in the news, and you'll hear, and here's why I don't like it. Well, let's talk about what it is first. So it's the total dollar market value of a company. And you're like, okay, well, that sounds like it would be a meaningful number. Well, is it though? Because it's really the number of outstanding shares times the share price. So bear with me for an example. So there was a point, well, let me tell you why I don't like it first. So there's a point where Tesla had a market cap. So again, take their outstanding shares versus their share price, higher than all of the other car makers on the planet combined. Okay. This is a company that basically maxed out to make 500,000 vehicles last year. Didn't think they were going to get there, but they got there. 500,000 cars. Okay. That is a drop in the bucket compared to the worldwide number of cars produced. So you're to tell me that Tesla, who produced a 500,000 cars, is bigger than Ford, Toyota, and just start listing names of all those other companies combined. That would be stupid, right? Because it is just not true. I mean, they're nowhere near that big. That is a ridiculous kind of comment, and it's based off of total, the share price, right? And because share prices are forward looking, and Cathie Wood's thesis and all of that, saying it's going to go to 3,000. Well, it's going to be the biggest company in the world, easy at that point. But is it though? No, it's not. It's just not. So, and here's where you can have fun with math. So say Elon Musk woke up this morning and issued another 1,000,000 shares. They're allowed to do that. They don't wait. They have to list it and get approval and all that stuff. So it doesn't happen that fast. But say they decide to issue another 1,000,000 shares. Well, take 1,000,000 shares times the stock price, which I won't do math this early in the morning, and I can't pull it off my screen on the left here. But anyway, whatever it is, that's a big chunk of change. So via the fact that they woke up one morning, listed with the SEC, said we want another 1,000,000 shares and dumped those on the open market, their market cap just increased. Well, guess what changed? This pin changed. They wrote another 1,000,000 shares, and boom, all of a sudden their market cap goes up. How can that be a useful number, right? Same thing. We could buy back, Apple's buying back shares, reducing their market cap. Has nothing to do with the size of the company. It is all, financial engineering / this pin is deciding what the market cap is. So I don't know. I just don't like it. So when a stock splits, essentially nothing, the market cap stays the same, correct? So yeah. So when a stock splits, say it splits 2 for 1, just make the math easy, the number of outstanding shares doubles. So the price gets cut in half. So a stock's at 200, it splits 2 for 1, stock price goes to 100, but there's double the amount of shares out there. So you're right, market cap stays the same. Now, does it? No. Chuckle, because whenever a stock splits, the stock goes up. So you cut it, from 200 to 100, and then the stock jumps to 120 on the split. So really, the market cap does go up, right? So, but not, not directly from the split. So anyhow, let's see what else we have in here. Refers to how much a company is worth. Yeah, if you were to buy it, absolutely. If you're going to buy those shares at that price or whatever price you set, then that is the amount that you owe. If you were to do an all cash, which all cash is really not a player at the higher levels. That's more of a lower. So here's your large cap, 10 billion and above, mid cap 2 to 10, and small cap basically 300 to 2 bill. Below that's micro cap. It's not listed here. But again, obviously that can move. So when these things get listed and delisted from these exchanges, like the small cap 600 or the mid cap 400, there is a certain amount of time. So you have to be at in order to promote to the mid cap 400, you have to be a mid cap for, I don't know what the exact number is, but 30 days, 90 days, something like that, in order to move up. And then same thing, you don't get downgraded the day you fall out of this range. There's a time frame associated with it before you are demoted out of that range. All right, so that's all I've got for you today. We are going to check back to the trade because it is working. So share the correct screen here, and then we'll close out for the day. So here we are. We took it at 660. 650 is the first R point. 640 is the second R point. There was some congestion out here, and we have our exit at 630, which hopefully it hits while we're talking here. That'd be kind of nice, so I don't have to come back to it. But again, you had some congestion in here as some people were taking profits from the big shorts from overnight, right? So people that shorted it early this morning, basically, why do stocks back up like this? Well, it's all these people covering their shorts. And then once all the shorts have covered, which is having to buy the stock back, that's when you see it start to get into its significant sell-off. So again, we're at 2R, we're holding out for 3R. I don't see any need to scalp any out of this trade. However, though, if you want to move your stop, right now we have a stop at 670. You can move your stop all the way down to 650. So that way, even if it backs up, you still make a full R. So if you risk 300, you'd be up $300. No matter what happens, right? But I wouldn't sell any here. I would let it continue to sell off throughout the day. All right, so that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for listening in, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.